My name is Chris Cook. I'm the Managing Director of the Office of Communication and Marketing at Texas Tech University and Texas Tech Public Media. Texas Tech University is full of great communicators, and together we hope to bring you perspectives and insight that can help you in your field. Communication is what we do every day, and it's intricately connected to our success and failures. This is Communicators in a Cart. If you get a chance to meet Carol Sumner, Texas Tech's Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, strap on your seatbelt and get ready. Dr. Sumner stepped on the gas on her first day in June and has not let off. Her excitement to be a Red Raider is surpassed only by her passion for serving our students. Carol,
hey.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you this morning.
Do you have time to go talk about it and catch up a little bit?
I do. Let's go. I have my stuff right here.
Great. Thank you.
Fantastic.
We've always been there. There is a really kind of a folklore on the internet.
Yeah.
And that goes around that Tech has the second largest campus in America. That's not exactly true.
Okay.
But it has been widespread. Stanford, number one. Air Force, of course, is huge because of the runways. But so how does this compare to Arizona State?
It's much larger in terms of scope and walk. Arizona State has 4 campus locations.
Right.
And so Tempe campus is probably the one that most would be familiar with. But I've done more driving from here in meetings from place to place here than I have done in years of driving at ASU.
Yeah, it can take you a while to get across campus.
And when you get lost, it's something else. But it's an absolutely gorgeous campus. The thing that I love about walking through some of these buildings, particularly the admin building, is to think of the thousands and thousands of people who've carved the pressure points in the marble that make them the sculpted stairs, to imagine how we might be leaving our impression.
Well, you're here today because someone sat in that building 96 years ago.
Absolutely.
Or 95 years ago, making decisions. In that very building. So it is kind of special to be in there.
I am anything unleaded or decaffeinated is a waste of my time.
I heard that.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
And I'll be Violet today. I do a different name every day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Violet, okay.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go to a restaurant and do Griswolds. You remember
Yeah,
the vacation?
yes.
We're the Griswolds. I've always wanted to do. I've never done that. My wife is like, I don't think so.
622 is it?
Thanks.
So it was my son who started me. We went after one of the orientations when he was an undergrad. And he was like, I should be this person. And he saw some video. So of a basketball player. And it was a women's basketball player. And he's like, Mom, you should choose that name. And so every day since, I choose the name of a woman or something that inspires me or helps me kind of think this will get me through the day.
Well, that's interesting.
So I do different names all the time. Today I'm feeling a little floral, like.
A little floral, so
having
Violet,
some
that's a good
fun.
one.
Violet
Well, thank you.
is actually the flower.
Is it Americano?
Yes.
Yes. So violet is the flower for my sorority.
Okay.
And
So everything has a meaning too. You're not just pulling one. You're not pulling a name out of the air.
I'm not pulling Brad Pitt and Angelina.
So Carol, you're approaching your first
semester.
fall semester
Absolutely.
at Texas Tech. What are you
Absolutely.
looking forward to the most?
Meeting the students and meeting the faculty and staff and getting to see what the Texas Tech community is all about, and really getting a chance to see what are the things that we value and celebrate, what are the traditions, how do we greet new students. This is going to be an incredibly important experience as we talk about what it means to be a member of the Red Raider family. And so learning those experiences and why it's special is going to be outstanding.
How does and by the end of this,
Yes.
People will see.
Yes.
You have a big personality.
I come from Texas. I got to have a big personality. I was born in Austin.
See, I didn't realize that. And you
Yeah.
went to school in Illinois.
I went
Did
to
you grow
school
up
in Illinois. So I grew up in Illinois, but I tell people I summered in Dallas. So born in Austin, my mother went to Houston-Tillotson, and we lived here until I was about 6 or 7, moved to Chicago. And so my cousins will tell me I have a strange accent. Coming from Texans who call my name Curl, it was something else, but yeah.
So how does that, when you talk about wanting to meet students,
Yeah.
what can they expect from you when, let's say you're walking around the sub and just, because I can see you walking around just introducing yourself.
Yeah, I'm not stuck on structured personality. I will often tell individuals, you know, Dr. Sumner is what indicates that I'm educated, but Carol is what makes me human. And so to be able to let students know, and it takes some adjusting, because in some communities, calling someone an adult by their first name is not something that we often do. But I want students to know that I'm here. You know, I come from working in student affairs, so I haven't always been in administration that has not had that work. And so working with students, I will approach them, I talk to them. The work I do is as though I was working on behalf of my own kids. I have 3 that are in their 20s. And so they'll see me in the sub, they'll see me in the fitness complex working out. I'm pretty much everywhere. I'll be at events and programs, and I expect that my leadership team and team will do the same.
Coming into this role as Vice President,
Right.
Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, what has the transition been like for you? Because this is yours to
Right.
put your stamp on.
Absolutely.
And so you've been here a short amount of time, but
Right.
what have you been able to accomplish so far?
Wow, we've been busy. Well, I came into the division, there had been a number of changes just in terms of how it was organized. And a lot of the work has been establishing what it means to be a team and working collectively as one unit. We've done a number of hires and transitions within the staff because we need people positioned and ready to roll. And so we are working really to create a platform for students to have a voice and to be active in the experience of students and community at Tech. What does it mean to be here? How do you give voice? How do you advocate for others? So those are a lot of the structural changes that have been put into place through people, because we need to have the resources that are available.
And there's been a lot of research nationally, there is annually, but when you're starting to see more dialogue about the future of the demographics of college students, high school graduates, where those high school graduates are coming from.
Absolutely.
So how does your philosophy lend to that support? Because by nature, we're going to reflect that demographic shift. And then some of it tactical as well. But how do you, with your philosophy, address those changes?
Well, as I've been meeting with faculty and staff over the summer, one of the things that I'm often working to do is to show commonality, because as diverse as we may be, there are many similarities across communities, across identities, and wanting to be able to create a space where all feel welcome. And in doing that, it allows for there to be an increase in diversity, not just in gender and socioeconomic status, race and religious affiliation, sexual orientation and gender identity, but who's coming in that might be from an underrepresented community. Those students that come from communities where they were part of a class of 30. Or they come from places that are not in Texas. How are we creating spaces where students feel welcome? That's my philosophy. I've been an outsider in many different places, and it's not just because of my race or my gender, but simply because I haven't been a part of that community or group of people. So we work to make sure that spaces are familiar as they can be, and or are welcoming to a broad constituent of people.
Looking at some of the issues that you also have to deal with, and unfortunately we had to jump right into that. And we won't get into details, but just globally on that, what is your philosophy on that? Because we've talked about there's an opportunity to educate sometimes. So why is that important? Why is that philosophy important?
Well, I think that it's giving people a chance to be able to say, you know, we're not all going to agree on things. At the end of the day, it's about mutual respect. And it's recognizing we are going to disagree. But how do we do that in a manner that we're not causing harm, but really, again, exploring those things that make us different and unique? I don't share similar ideology with everyone, but that doesn't mean that I disrespect what they think. And it's coming together to share those spaces to talk about it. I also think, as I've talked with the students about my own philosophy, it's realizing you're not sitting in that chair representing just you or your particular community. community, that there's great force in being able to come together and realize if this is happening with me, might that be happening with someone else? That's the groundwork that we're trying to set in the work that we do. This is not based on regulation. I am very clear to want to be able to distinguish that I'm not looking at how are we requiring people to follow policy. How are you inspiring others to see themselves as members of a community?
Right.
And how do we create that capacity together? That's our underlying work.
You told me that, well, no, let me ask it this way.
Sure.
You bought season tickets.
I did.
Is there
I'm
anything you
crazy
want to
fan
tell
lady.
the people that
If
potentially
you
be
see
sitting
me,
around you?
Don't say anything when you see me acting up. And I'm just saying, I'm a crazy fan. I grew up with football as like the sport. I remember as a child, and it stuck with me vividly, I wanted to watch The Wizard of Oz. And it was either The Wizard of Oz or Willy Wonka, and I told my mom, and she was like, you can go in the kitchen because the Cowboys are on. So I had to make choices early on as to whether or not I wanted to watch football. So I'm a crazy fan, but I'm crazy fan because our students, let me say, our students represent us in ways they're getting their bodies banged up and doing all this stuff. So don't boo our students. Don't do that, because I'm not that fan. But I am all about high-fiving and being in the spirit of things. So I look
So we've
forward
given
to
everybody an introduction, though, so that
Absolutely.
they'll know who you
Crazy
are.
fan lady. I tell you, I asked someone, should I wear heels or flats to the games? In this role, I'll be wearing flats.
Yeah. Carol, thank you.
You're quite
It's been
welcome.
great.
Thanks for the coffee.
Absolutely.
I know,
Anytime. We can
yeah.
do this without the cameras,
Hey, I totally am all about it. I guess I got to go back to work now, huh?
too. Yeah, sorry about that. Well, we delayed you a little bit,
That's
so maybe
okay.
that helps.
No, that's good.